Utah at Baylor, 7 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN2. Utah trying to stay alive right now in the Big 12 and also college football playoff race. Utah still very much alive in the playoff race right now. They're ranked last week at least in the top 15 by the committee. Should probably stay in the same this week because they didn't lose this past weekend. While it is possible that the Utes get in as an at-large team at 10-2, it's much more likely that their only path to making the playoff is by winning the Big 12. And right now, Utah is on the outside looking in to the Big 12 championship game. Right now, they're fifth in the conference with a 4-2 record in Big 12 play. But considering some of the teams ahead of Utah have big games left, the door is still open for the Utes to sneak into that conference title game. Winning this game, though, at Baylor and their final two games against Kansas State and Kansas are basically a requirement for Utah to stay alive in both the Big 12 race and also the college football playoff race, too.
It's a weird situation with them because they need to finish outright ahead of BYU, losing that tiebreaker. But they do have the tiebreaker with Cincinnati. So, I mean, there's probably some scenarios we could put together. We're not going to do it right this minute, where Utah ends up probably tied with Cincinnati, and then they get another crack at Texas Tech, right? And they were really, other than Arizona State actually beating Texas Tech, Utah was probably the next closest when, despite the final score, you consider the way they played the first three quarters on defense, they would feel like they have a shot in that game. But no, they have to win their last three games. The Utah right now is the ultimate take care of your own business team right now, and just whatever other chips fall is where they fall. And if you lost the two biggest games of the season and that's what cost you a shot at the conference title, then so be it, right? But first things first, this Baylor team, they got a high-flying offense with Sawyer Robertson and all these receivers. It is another challenge, especially on the road. Any road game this time of year, I don't care who you're playing, is going to be tough to win. So Utah's certainly still in it. This is step 1 of 3 of staying in contention there.
So you actually have that high-flying Baylor offense. What should you know for them against Utah's defense?
Well, Sawyer Robertson's going to let it rip, and sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't, and he's got the 6th most dropbacks in the entire FBS. And look, Max, when they win, he's slinging it downfield accurately and not turning the football over, and when they lose, he doesn't. It's basically that simple. So let's take their 4 wins against Power 4 teams, and I'm going to look at 10-plus yard throws. We're going to get vertical with Ashton Hawkins and Josh Cameron and Michael Trigg and all these receiving threats that Baylor has. In those 4 wins against Power 4 teams on these throws, 90.7 passing grade, completing just about 53% of them, 12 big-time throws, 4 turnover-worthy plays. Can he beat Utah's man coverage in that sort of with that sort of production? Can he make those tight window throws against Elijah Davis and Teo Johnson and a really good secondary that plays a lot of man-to-man coverage? Or is it going to be like their 4 losses, where on 10-plus yard throws, he's got a 59.2 passing grade, only completing about 39%, 5 big-time throws, 9 turnover-worthy plays? Accuracy, decision-making. With Sawyer Robertson, it can vary week to week, big time. There's a lot of really good receivers on this team. They're going to come out and air it out. That's what they've been doing all year. Again, Robertson, 6th most dropbacks in the nation. If he's accurate down the field, Baylor's got a shot to win this game. If he doesn't, considering some of their other weaknesses, especially on defense, then they probably don't have too much of a shot. It's really the Jekyll and Hyde of Sawyer Robertson this year.
Yeah, definitely. I have Utah's offense, and really it's about whether or not Utah can run all over the Bears in this game. Utah's entire offensive identity is centered around his ability to pound the rock. Right now, a 56% run rate this year. That's 3rd in the Power 4. They average 6.1 yards per carry as well, which is 10th in the country. 3.1 yards before contact per carry is the best among all teams in college football. That has a lot to do with the guy on the left right there, Spencer Fano, but also has to do with the great job by Utah of just confusing defenses with who has the football. Because Wayshawn Parker at running back has been great for them this year, and Devin Dampier at quarterback can pull that ball and get a lot of rushing yards by himself as well. Both of them have over 500 rushing yards so far this year, and Baylor has had plenty of issues with their run defense, earning the 6th worst run defense grade in the Power 4 at 70.8. And right now, Baylor is only 84th in the country in yards before contact per attempt allowed at 1.7. And they've allowed quarterbacks to run for at least 60 yards on them 4 times in their 9 games. So Baylor must be prepared to stop the run in this game in order to have a chance at pulling off the home upset.
I mean, we've seen this all year with Baylor. The Auburn loss, the Cincinnati loss, right? I mean, TCU, they lost that game giving up 42 points, but the run defense really is a problem. The Arizona State loss, Arizona State ran the ball well on them. I just think when you look at this Baylor team, this is a major concern. This Utah offensive line really leaning on them, and you mentioned it, Jason Beck with the play calling, creating open space for those ball carriers, Dampier included. That's priority number one. They're going to need to be a lot better in the front seven. It's hard enough just dealing with the 5 guys up front physically, but then you throw in the fact that Utah uses a 6 offensive lineman more than anybody. They have good tight ends that they can go to. They got defensive guys that come over like Lander Barton and Smith Snowden flying all over, playing both ways, right? Utah's just going full tilt high school with this thing where anybody can play any position. And then, of course, Dampier has thrown the ball pretty well this season as well. So I think Baylor's run defense obviously has to be the priority for them to win this game. They cannot get mauled for 300-plus rushing yards in this game.
So ultimately, Dalton, will Utah stay alive in the college football playoff race and Big 12 race right now, or will Baylor deliver a potentially fatal blow to their season?
I think they're going to stay alive. It's always tough to win road games this time of year, and I think Robertson is going to make a handful of throws that keep this thing competitive. But when you look at just the style of play that Baylor has had to deal with all year defensively, and just we've seen it from the very first week that their run defense has not been up to par for them being in contention. This is the worst week to have that problem, right? And we've seen it. Arizona State, Auburn, Cincinnati, even Kansas State, even though they won that game miraculously, right, where you have just a front seven that struggled all year for Dave Aranda. I expect that to continue. I think we get a high-scoring game, but I'm taking Utah 38-27.
I have Utah winning 34-21 over Baylor. I think the run game would be way too much for Baylor to handle in this game, and I think Utah will stay alive in the Big 12 title race. And I think Utah's heavy dosage of man coverage will give Robertson some problems in this game too. So I think Utah's going to win 34-21 over Baylor and stay alive in the Big 12 championship race. All right.